Hello and welcome to the next Critique the Community. Today we will be critiquing images of senior citizens, not senior portraits of high schoolers, senior citizens. And if you would like to be a part of the next critique, we're going to be doing travel photography. We are currently locked into the United States right now with the coronavirus.
Self-quarantined.
But soon we will be able to travel again, and we want to see all the beautiful places and cool things that we will be able to travel to soon. So you can click on the link in the description, or you can always go to fstoppers.com/contest to see all of these images and upload your images for the next critique. Are you ready?
I believe so, and just to be clear, travel can be what? Like portraits, it could be weddings, it could be landscapes.
Oh,
like,
you're opening up a can of worms, but
should
sure.
I not? Should I leave that up for
It's very broad. Just don't cheat. You had to travel when you took the picture.
They're like, I went outside.
Exactly.
I left my house.
Yeah, but we'll deal with that one. Let's rate the highest rated image and the winner of a free tutorial from fstoppers.com/store. If you're going to be a part of a critique coming up, head over to fstoppers.com/store. Check out all of our full-length photography and video tutorials. Figure out which one you want to win. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1.
Between a 3 and a 4.
So I wanted to give this a 4. I think the lighting's really pretty. First of all, does this guy look familiar to you at all?
Yes. He looks like, who's Raging Bull?
I have no idea.
Robert De Niro. This looks like Robert De Niro.
I was going to say, this looks straight up like Elia Lacardi with the age app.
What? No.
This is what Elia is going to look like in 30 years.
No.
For sure. For sure. Look at him.
Oh, I mean...
You're not seeing it?
I'm not seeing it, but what I am seeing that's freaking me out a little bit is his left hand and all those veins. I don't know why I look down there and I get like the jittery, like, ugh.
You don't like veins in people's hands?
No, because I just imagine getting an IV and the veins like squirming around, and it just like gets to me. Like, I don't have a fear of needles, but when I see veins like that, it freaks me out a little bit.
Interesting.
And they're so blue. It's like the tone down there is like, it's like a deadly hand. Like it's...
All right, well, the reason why I didn't give this 4 stars is just because of the expression on his face. I mean, what an incredible moment. Beautiful lighting.
He looks a little
Look at this little
dull, like
I mean, he looks like, where am I? Back in my day, I used to travel the world taking photos with those Fstoppers boys.
If he just had a smile on his face, it would be...
Oh, it would change everything. It would change everything, but it doesn't look like he's even enjoying this.
My vote? Is that a bad thing?
You have to change your vote because I was right and you were wrong.
I think you're right in this case
about
my vote.
Of course.
But this is the highest rated image.
It is. Community gave it 3.8 stars. You will get a free tutorial. Send me a private message on fstoppers.com and I will send it to you. And just so you guys know, we've recently changed the way our tutorial system works. It's much better now. We used to have this thing where like email you links and the links would expire and blah, 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 blah. So now, anytime you buy a tutorial from Fstoppers or win a tutorial, it's going to be linked to your Fstoppers account. You go to account, profile, and tutorials, and it'll show everything that you own and you have licenses for. And if your computer explodes and in 5 years from now you want to rewatch something, all of your files will be right there. And that's how I'm sending people files now.
You're just unlocking it in their profile.
Exactly.
All right, so before we go to the next image, random number 2 to 20?
Number 5.
So when we get to number 5, you will be the lucky winner of another tutorial. But for now, this is image number 2.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. I mean, I really want to give this 4. I feel like this looks great. I love this guy, love the lighting, love the post-processing. The fact that it's shot on pure black, I think makes it timeless and beautiful.
Yeah.
But I don't know with an image like this what could be done to really, blow me away and make me want to give it a 4 or 5.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. This seems like this belongs in a series, of veterans or something, and it would make a lot of sense. Do you feel like his expression seems a little strange, the way he's just like kind of looking. It's like he's looking in the camera and not really being engaged with the photographer all that much.
Yeah, but somebody that age, he might be engaging all he can.
Yeah. I keep thinking of these, the Ann Leibovitz ads that we get on our YouTube channel, and it's like, people say it's the photographer's responsibility to put the subject at ease, and I just don't believe that. We put that clip in right now, because I think I did a good Ann Leibovitz. I look at this, and I just think, like, it's just, there's something, maybe it's in his eyes, there's just, it's like his mouth is kind of like trying to give you this inviting look, but then his eyes seem kind of dead. But it's good enough for your portfolio. I do like it.
Community gives it 3.28.
Is he looking a little too, like, is his shoulders and his body position a little too straight on?
I was thinking that, but, you know, they're also trying to really show off the medals. And now, you know, now that you mention that, there's definitely some funny business going on the medals.
Yeah, I think they have a light or a reflector or something over there.
I think that's...
You think they're just dodging it?
I think it's almost like light painted in. I think that's from another frame completely.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Community gives that one what?
3.28.
3.28. I think that was the second highest image.
Now, I am not a big Harry Potter fan, but I know there's a character that looks like this in Harry Potter.
I don't know much, but I do know there's a guy who...
There's a fat man with a big-ass beard and hair like this in Harry Potter.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking more like the Disney haunted house, where the face just appears, you know?
Where?
I don't know, the haunted house. You get to all the mirrors, and like the mirror, there's like a face in it.
I don't think.
No, there's not one like.
There's a mirror at the very end, but they have these ghosts that like jump on the thing with you. It's not like this.
Wow, you ready to rate this?
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. 3 stars. I rated it the same as the last one. I think I prefer the last shot, but very interesting. You know, the floating head, no body. It certainly makes it more interesting than if you could see his body.
I keep thinking, is he super skinny, and this is a lot of hair, or is his body like coming out of the frame?
I get the vibe that he's a big man, but I could be wrong.
It's going to be hard to like judge some of these because I just feel like I picked out these images. I'm the one who went through these, and I know, as you'll see, a lot of images are going to have this feel to it. It's like people just like to show off all the detail and wrinkles and the hair and everything with old people. But it's unique. Again, I think this would really only stand out for me in like a series. If you had a bunch of people that were lit like this, I think it would be extremely interesting. But if I had this just on my website and this was one single image, I don't know that he's doing anything interesting enough to like really stand out.
It certainly would be stronger in a series of similar images, but I also think it works because of the hair. If you saw someone's neck, then where are you cutting it to go to pure black? You know what I mean?
Well, maybe the series is all like older men with
beards.
crazy beards or something. Okay. I don't know.
All right, well, Community gives it 3.22. Now, guys, I know the only reason you're here right now is for hashtag Subway Justice.
Yeah.
I have an underwhelming update for you all.
Underwhelming?
Well, after the last video was released, Patrick and I went back to Subway. And one of the guys who had not wanted to give me the chicken sandwich without the chicken before,
right,
this time he just acted like, I got you, man, like it's no problem. You don't have to get the meat.
Is he acting like he helped change the rules? Because before he was kind of like the second in command, and he's like, I can't.
Yeah, he was.
That's his voice. Yeah, I can't give you the chicken.
It's not his voice, but he was the guy who was like, I can't give you the discount because if I don't put the chicken and I put it on the machine, then it's going to be a veggie delight, and then you don't get the discount because the machine won't allow me to. He was the one who said that, and now he's just like, oh, you're good. So I don't know what's happened. I don't know if the manager has relaxed. I don't know if he's like, listen.
I finally figured out the code.
I don't know.
Maybe corporate sent an email blast and was like, hey.
And then our editor, Keenan, he just texted me today and was like, hey, I just went to Subway. I ordered the selfie combo. I asked for the chicken and leave the chicken off, and they did it for me.
But he's not vegetarian, is
No, he just did it to see what would happen.
Okay, it's committed then.
And he was like, they did it, no problem. And I like to at least think that I am the Rosa Parks of Subway. Like, I paved the way so that people like Keenan could have the Veggie Delight and get the discount and all the, the cookies, the chips, the drink.
When I think of, like, Rosa Parks, I think Lee Morris, like, right there.
I mean,
you're one seat behind,
Or in front.
In front, depending on how you look at it. But you finally stood up all these years and you said, we will not have chicken.
No more! No more! I want the cookie and I don't want the chicken.
You know what makes me
Subway
laugh
justice.
really hard is I'm looking at these pictures of old people and I can just imagine ourselves on a couch like this 30 years from now and we're still talking about Subway. Like, how many times have I had to hear this story? But apparently people love it. It's like the #1 comment on the last Critique the Community. I'm kind of over it at this point, but like, man, people love the Subway justice.
Some guy, I forgot about this, some guy was like, hey man, is this your PayPal? Like, he had bought something from me a long time ago, or like a tutorial, I don't remember what it was. He was like, is this your PayPal account? I'm sending you $50 to continue the Subway justice investigation. And I was like, no man, like, thank you for the support. I love that people find this as humorous as I do, but do not send me money. I'm not going to accept your money. He's like, I'm sending you the money. Yeah, I have $50 now that I must use on the Subway Justice campaign.
And it's what, $4.99? So that's 10 new visits that you get to have.
That's true.
So maybe the story will continue.
I guess it has to.
It has to. He's paid for it.
It will never end. And if you don't know what the heck we're talking about right now, watch the last Critique the Community.
What time?
Just
halfway through or something?
Yeah, we go undercover and we explain the whole thing, but I'm not explaining it now.
Can I do chicken? But I'm a vegetarian, so is it okay just no chicken?
Okay. No cheese, or you want cheese?
With cheese.
It can be any of them.
No way.
Okay.
No way.
So it's the same chicken price.
What is going
There's no
on?
chicken, right? Okay.
All right. Well, this guy seems like he wants to kill us.
Yeah, it's a little creepy.
What is he holding? Is that like a...
I think he's holding like a paintbrush thing. But
it almost looks like a poppy plant or something. I don't know.
yes, it does. 3, 2, 1.
I'm gonna go 2 needs work. I don't know how to rate this because he's definitely given me like a crazy vibe, and I think I would stop and look at this image, and that's like the #1 thing you probably want as a photographer, for people to stop and to like examine an image. But it's so weird that it doesn't make me, like in your mom's words, it doesn't make me feel comfortable.
Well, so I think the styling on this image is incredible.
Yeah.
You know, there's almost nothing. Maybe his like jeans kind of pull me out of it. But other than that, I mean, this feels like it could be 200 years old or something. But this dude's not even looking at the camera. And
he's got like a lazy eye.
Yeah, and he's not looking away from the camera either. It looks like he's zoned out and daydreaming in between test shots. And then you're about to be like, okay, I've got the light ready. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then he comes alive, but he looks like he's, thinking about coronavirus or something.
And then you got the little doll head, the little porcelain head in the background. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah, but that's cool,
You like that?
I mean, I don't know. I like all the styling of this image, and I'd be curious to know how much of this was styled, or if that's what this dude's place looks like.
Do you think there's any chance that this is kind of like a street photography or something, or do you think this is lit too well for it to be just off the cuff? You snapped a shot of some guy in some weird market or studio or wherever he is.
I feel like this is strobed from the left. The light direction feels too low to be natural light to me.
Yeah. I've seen natural light come from that direction, but
like super early in the morning or something? Like this is right at sunrise or sunset? It just seems too good to be true.
It almost seems like it should be warmer in color, you know, if it was that low. But what do you think the community is going to say?
Community 3.18.
So this is number 5, and this is the winner. Is this the same dude?
Yeah, this has to be the same photographer. So you cannot win 2 tutorials. So you have won 1. Let's give the next free tutorial to the next image.
All right, so number 6. But let's go ahead and look at this one. What he did in this frame that's better than the previous one is that he put the creepy dead hand in the shadow, and then the hand that doesn't have the veins.
I don't know, dude. Look at the veins on this one.
It's
It's
more
kind of
skeletal.
creepy.
I see like the tendons, and those don't freak me out as much as the veins.
Okay. Now, the question that I have for you is, do you like this more or less than the first shot?
You'll have to wait and see.
3, 2, 1. 3 stars. We agree. I really like this.
Is it too moody?
Well, I think my biggest critique is that the entire right side and bottom of this is so dark that it almost feels like the crop should be cropped in super tight on this guy.
Yeah.
And just have it be about his face and his hand and his forearm.
Because nothing's interesting about the glass and about his shirt and...
No, not at all.
The whole, like, 75% of the frame on the bottom right is just not that engaging at all. But then you have, like, this pleathered seat that he's sitting on that just gives... It almost looks like smoke or something. The tones behind his hair and everything look really nice.
I thought that was smoke back there. That's interesting.
No, it's like a couch or something.
Okay.
I like the toning in this, too. It's got, like, these blues and cyans.
So I've got a funny cheap couch story.
Yeah.
I used to not have very good taste in furniture. You know, I didn't know. I was just a guy. I know a lot of people are going to be like, everything in here is ugly.
You still don't.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. We both picked out this couch, and then we got it in here. And before we made the wall a different color,
yeah,
it looked a little rough.
A little yellow in here. But I went to this, and my wife now, girlfriend at the time, is a professional commercial interior designer. So I go to a furniture store that was going out of business, and the entire living room, like, you know, it was one of these like lazy boy type things. I call these sofas, like, they have the fat rolls, where instead of having like a nice shape to them, they have the rolls that like fold over and you can put stuff.
You're always scared to like have a finger go in there, and you're like,
what's so weird? But I always thought that's just what sofas look like. You got to have the fat rolls, and it's just, they're hideous.
All
but
the 3 cushions, and they're all like super plump,
bulging out everywhere. So I called Katie and I was like, Katie,
found the sofa.
We're good, you know. And we weren't living together at the time, but you know, I think she was expecting one day we'd live together. And I was like, look, this whole like 6 pieces is only like $1,700, or like, it's crazy. And I get the tables and the this and the that. And she was so nice, and she was just like, Lee, I just think, you know, your taste might change. Like, she never said that's horrendous or anything like that. She just said your taste might change. And I was like, but it's leather, and it's so, like, it's cool. I can afford the leather sofa or whatever. Well, you know, let's just see what happens in the next room or whatever. Well, over the next few months and years, she starts taking me to furniture stores in New York City. And I start seeing that, like,
there's a
good sofa that she would put in a mall or an office building would be like 15 grand.
Yeah.
For something this size, it would be like 15 grand. And I'm like, what? And then I learned that like a lot of sofas for homes are, you know, $3,000 to $10,000 for a sofa. And so when we ended up buying a house, and then Katie was helping me pick out furniture, it was like I ended up buying like chairs for more than the cost of the entire thing that was on sale. Before. And I just remember thinking like, oh my gosh, like I almost had the fat roll furniture, but I would have had a lot more money in the bank.
Yeah, the problem with those is once you get those fat roll chairs and sofas in your house, they're so hard to get rid of.
Nobody wants them.
Just go on Craigslist. There's so many of them, you know.
I know. I just didn't know.
I can't tell that this is one of them though, but this has that kind of fake leather feel to it. But
Yeah.
I mean, I like it.
Poofy
I don't
leather.
know why talking about the bad sofas. I like it in this one.
Well, it's hard to see.
Did we even rate this? We gave this 3s?
I think so.
Community gives this one 3.16.
This one is the random winner because the last guy tried to cheat and get 2. So congratulations. Send me a private message on fstoppers.com. Let me know which tutorial you want, and I will send it to you.
You know who's back right now? Zach Arias. Zach Arias released his first video in like 2 years. In one of his videos, he goes through and critiques people's portfolios, and he's just cutting out images left and right. It's a really interesting watch, especially if you like to give us crap on these critiques, because he's way harsher than us. And I think, you know, as I'm going through the images, trying to pick out images to put into this this critique community, it's the same sort of thing. It's like, this image is ranked really high, but when it's small, the previous image of the guy with the glass, you know, when it's so small, you're like, man, why is there so much black space? You know, you want that image to just pop up, especially if you have it in a gallery. So, all that being said, a lot of these images were actually kind of blending in together. And as you can see from this next image, we have another black and white old guy with the super clarity look to it, you know?
Yeah, certainly unique composition, though.
With the hand, like the way the focus is like,
Yeah,
it's
and just-
shallowed up the field, but somehow it's still perfectly...
And totally filling the frame.
This shot, I don't know if it's his hands, it reminds me of that like cover of that Greg Heisler book, where he's got like the jazz blues player, and he's got the hand, you know, and it's like you just see all the details in it.
All of the veins.
I don't like seeing the veins, but I do like seeing all the crud under the nails.
All right, are you ready?
I think so.
3, 2, 1. 3 stars, we agree.
I'd give this like a high... I want to give this a high 3 because this image does look really cool. But is there something about like... I don't want to say this guy's homeless, but is there something about like photographers always liking to take pictures of homeless people? It's like every photographer's first project when they're in like art school or
Yeah.
they're in college, and you're just like, all right, man, like how many people have taken portraits of homeless people? But that's not to say they can't take a great portrait and it can't have a lot of character and be really interesting, but
This photographer's like, that's my dad, asshole.
maybe. But I think this image would belong in like a street photography portfolio. If you put this in like a high-end portrait portfolio, I just think especially a lot of higher end art buyers, they're gonna be like, man, I've seen. There's another great Zach Arias video. Like he talks about like why your images aren't winning photo contests. That's like the newest video he just released, and he'd probably say the same thing about this. Is like, man, you see so many images like this.
Yeah.
They're a dime a dozen. Even though it's technically really good, it's got a good toning and stuff. It's just, I don't know. Am I ripping this image apart too much? For
I don't
being a
know. I
3?
mean, I was going to say, if you crop past the hand and the cigarette, do you feel like it's a much stronger image? I mean, that is a
dude, that looks
creepy looking shot.
looks like Charlie Manson or something.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm about to be murdered.
And just so much detail in the beard and in the eyes and everything. And I like the hand. I find it interesting. Very cool, shallowed up the field and everything. The way you were able to get the fingertips in focus and the eyes in focus. I don't know how you pulled that off. But does it become a little cheesier with the posing of the cigarette right in the shot? And do you not need it maybe? I mean, the way...
But you have to crop in a way that you get the butt of the cigarette out, right?
Yeah, I mean...
That gets a little tricky because then it's like a super tight crop.
I mean, you could edit out that cigarette very easily. It's just a blurry beard behind it. But I don't know. I think it's a very interesting image. And I mean, talking about, you know, some of the other shots, how the subject was not interacting with the camera.
Yeah, this guy is giving you the death stare.
Yeah, he is. All right, community 3.02. So Patrick, it is currently, as we are filming this is the night of Friday the 13th.
Uh-oh.
And coronavirus has been going crazy in the States. In case you guys don't know, we're currently in Puerto Rico. And
I just came back from the States.
yeah,
So
you're putting us all
I
at
might be the
risk.
surrogate.
Stock market's been going insane.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be fun to make some predictions about what we think will happen in the near, medium, and long-term future. And then we can come back and kind of see what we...
So I did a little bit of this on Facebook last week. People were really upset with me. It's like, you can't have an opinion about this, you know, and I understand. It's like a health crisis, right? So you don't want to say something that's like insensitive or flat out wrong. You don't want to spread fake news, but I think I got to be a little careful on what I say here. So why don't you go first? What are you talking about? How bad the coronavirus will be, or where the market and economy are going?
Well, maybe all the above. I was specifically talking about the stock market and the economy. That's what I am obsessed with recently, and maybe we just need to talk about this as we go through this critique, because we could talk for a really long time. But when Trump was elected, I pulled all of my money out of the stock market because, one, I think that guy's insane, and I was like, he's a loose cannon. I don't know what he's capable of doing. And I just looked at the trajectory of the stock market, and I'm like, we're on one of the longest bull runs ever. Every 10 years approximately, we have some sort of crash. It's coming.
Trump is going to crash the economy like he's crashed many casinos.
Probably.
That was a common thought.
For the last 3 years, it's been the worst financial decision of my life. Yep. We've had the best bull run ever. Things got better. I had to listen to you talk shit for 3 years about all the money you were making.
Every paycheck, I just keep putting money in the market.
Yep, and I wasn't putting any in. And now
is your big opportunity.
Potentially now's my big opportunity. And, you know, I could be proven right. Like, obviously I was 3 years early. But if it drops down low enough, I think at the moment we're... Earlier today, before the 10% rise, I think we were like 25% down and maybe 7.5% away from the stock market level when Trump became president.
Right. At the end of the day, he comes out and says national emergency, declares, you know, I don't know what he declared, martial law or something, saying we can't travel.
Well, that was a few days ago.
That was Europe. Europe couldn't travel to the United
and then
States,
today, I don't know what he said.
All the schools are closing. It's getting...
Yeah.
It's weird because it's new to us, but a lot of the world is already a few cycles ahead. So
yeah, and we have some friends in Italy and China and stuff, and we've been hearing some crazy things. So, I don't know. Think about it. Let's keep critiquing pictures. We'll come to this in a second. Are you ready to rate this?
Another guy with a beard. I think when you get old, not only do you go bald, but you got to grow the beard out really big.
Really?
I think that's a...
Is that what I need?
To be cool, to be in a critique the community from like...
And I gotta get the tats.
All right, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. I'm in between a 3 and a 4.
Yeah.
I really like this. I mean, you know, first of all, everybody does the same pose with a surfboard. It's like under one arm or it's standing up straight and you got the hand on it. This is a pose that feels totally new to me. Super interesting looking guy. Love the lighting. Cool background. Wish the sand wasn't quite so junky, but whatever. Is the horizon straight or is it higher on the left? Maybe that's land on the left. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say.
That feels
I just think
off.
this is like a pretty decent editorial environmental portrait. Like, I don't think this is going to win any awards, but I think this is an image that should belong in your portfolio, and it's kind of interesting that you went with the older guy, you know. It's not as commercial as if you had the young guy there, you know, or something, but I think it's a cool shot. It's one of those things that's not, like, blowing my mind or anything, but I definitely think it's an interesting enough photo to belong in your portfolio for even a while, maybe, you know. It's not like you're going to have a better old guy. What are you doing, playing with the crop?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, do you need the backside of the surfboard? It's really dark anyway. Surfboards obviously looks pretty junky. Could you crop in a little bit, kind of like this?
Yeah, that would definitely make it stand out more.
And have him, you know, kind of in the...
You can also crop out a lot. If you start cropping into the board, you can get rid of some of that sand on the bottom that you don't like.
Yeah.
I don't know. It has a lot of flexibility, which is always good.
Community gives it 3.14, which is Pi, which, I'll mention this as part of the story. So Pi speaks Cantonese, Pi from SLR Lounge, in case you guys don't know. He has a lot of connections in China. He's created products in China. He's worked with factories, so he knows a lot of people over there. When the coronavirus started hitting China, Pi started calling around to factories, learning they were shutting down, and he realized that even if corona made it to us, the real issue would not be the virus, it would be the disruption of the market. You know, like everybody needs the China factories to make whatever we make here.
Yeah.
Everything's made, or parts of everything are made in China. And so Pi told all of his friends and family to get out of the stock market 3 weeks ago and forgot to call you.
I didn't get the memo. And I got a phone call the other day, and he was just like, my bad, bro. My bad. My bad. And I thought, yeah, that's the most expensive my bad I've ever had.
Here's the question, though. Would he have been able to convince you to get out? I mean,
I don't know. Like, this is what I struggle with, is that I read so much about the coronavirus and how it was disrupting Asia. And it was just, it's one of those things, like, you just don't know how bad it's going to be. I mean, we still don't know how bad it's going to be here in America. We're kind of at the beginning of this curve. And so I think if depending on how he presented it, I think he could have probably persuaded me. But I'm one of those, like, buy and hold guys where I'm like, I'm just going to ride the wave and put new money in when it's low and everything.
you were like that. But then yesterday, for years, Patrick's been saying I made a mistake. I shouldn't have been in the market. He was right, obviously, in hindsight. He's like, even if it drops, man, you just ride it out. It's going to go back up in a few years. If you do, you know, you can look at all the charts. Everybody who puts in, buy and hold, that's what you got to do. And then the other day, you were like, I think I got to get out. I think I got to get out. It's been a week. It's been a week of turbulence, and you can't handle a week. You got to be ready for years of this. You got to be ready. If this is anything like 2008, a lot of people are saying it could be worse. It could be years until we reach bottom. Imagine 3 years.
That's the argument of getting out, you know. And the worst thing you could possibly do is do a panic sell. But in the past, I don't know anything about markets, right? Like, I wasn't even invested in the financial crash of 2008. But when I look back on those, I don't know the fundamentals. I don't know what's going on with the banks and all that. Like, I enjoy reading about it, but, like, I don't know what's going on in a, you know, timeline standpoint. I guess I'll predict here soon, but I feel like this Corona thing is nowhere even near being completed. And I think we're just facing the beginning of this, and I'm expecting it to be really, really bad.
But that's what everybody says when they panic sell, lock in their losses, and then they're like, "Oh my gosh, if I had just stayed in, everything recovered in 3 months, and I can't believe how dumb I was." I
think a lot of people are panic selling, and then they just, like, they don't trust the market, and they're like, screw Wall Street and stocks, and they, like, leave forever, and they never get back in. Maybe they never get back in.
Okay.
You know, if I sell, I don't know that I will, but if I did, I'd get back in pretty soon. I'm giving it like a 3-week, or we're doing predictions.
Not yet.
I would say
not yet. Hold your prediction. Okay. Let's edit. Let's critique some photos.
Okay, so here's another very distinguished old man.
I feel like this is what you could look like. He's got your whacked out hair and beard. Are you ready?
Do my hair like that? Yeah.
3, 2, 1. 3 stars. We agree. I feel like this is a solid portrait. It feels kind of Peter Hurley-esque.
It's kind of like what he does with his new work. You know, the darker vibe with the kicker on the left. Do you feel like the depth of field is like too shallow in this? Like, it's like...
It is very shallow, but, you know, the photographer caught the eyes and the eyelashes, so it's nice. I feel like it looks really cool.
Do you feel like his expression's a little dull?
A little bit. Maybe I want to see... I feel like his eyes look pretty good. I'd like to see maybe a little something more with his mouth, but...
Yeah, you can always, like, cover one or the other. And I feel like his eyes are I mean, he kind of could squinch the left eye, his left eye a little bit more.
He's got the squinch going on. He's got that...
But he's got one eye bigger than the other. That's something that Peter always, like, harps on. It's something I would have never noticed. But he would have, like, gotten him to lower the right side eye, his left. But yeah, you're right. His mouth feels like it's a little flat. I wonder if he didn't have the beard, if I would, like, say his expression's way too dull. But the beard somehow makes him feel a little more mysterious.
Well, it's covering up the majority of it. All right, community gives it 2.98. Moving on. We got to hurry, man. We got 20 of these to get through. This is number 9. Dude, this guy isn't a senior citizen. How did this get in here?
You're right. Should we just not even rate this one?
Yeah, you got to rub it in this photographer's face. We're not even going to rate it, even though I really like this image.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, but it has nothing to do with...
I think he looks like he's from a time that's much older than today.
Okay. All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Going 2.
I am going 2.
I'm switching genres here. Like, I don't think this is meant to be rated the same way some of the other images have been rated. This is like very editorial, documentary. It's like kind of got like Americana in there. Like, I feel like this is it's a pretty cool image.
So
I think you need all of the space. Like, there's some cropping that maybe would make it a tighter image, but I like seeing the environment that he's probably lived in his whole life. I like seeing, I don't know about these flowers. I think the flowers, you could have pulled that out maybe, but I like seeing the sofa and the fireplace and everything.
I do too. But something about this image feels kind of cheap to me. And you know what? I think I may have just figured it out.
It's just the simple lighting. This looks very like natural light.
So I don't think this looks like natural light.
Really?
There's some wacky going on. If you look by his right hand, the one holding the cigar, camera left.
Yeah.
See the double shadows going on? It's like you've got the dark shadow and then you've got a slightly less shadow.
I think that happens in late day sun when you have like, you know, lights creeping past a car and then coming into the house, but then it's also blocked by. It's just, that's a very layered look.
Maybe it feels like the light. I think what is happening is there's a window and then there's a strobe that's been added very low. If you look at the car that's in the upper left, it almost feels like it's being lit from bottom up, throwing shadows up almost. You know, it's kind of throwing shadows to the camera left. But something about these shadows, it just feels kind of like cheap lighting to me. And when I see all those clocks and everything on the hearth, it just doesn't feel that professional. And I can't quite put my finger on it. Usually when there's lighting issues like that, if you make the image black and white, for some reason it kind of hides it.
Yeah.
But I feel like this guy looks pretty good.
I don't know. You could sit here and talk about the way this was lit all day long. To me, it feels kind of like natural light, and sometimes natural light does some really weird stuff. And really good photographers might be able to replicate this weird lighting, and that's kind of what they were going for. I think this just looks like a cool image that would go with like a news story or an old book
absolutely,
or something.
yeah. I mean, it would fit perfectly in a newspaper. But I'm just wondering, like, is this the best that you have for your portfolio? You know, you got the highlights on the pictures and stuff. He's holding a picture that's probably very important, and a lot of it's blown out. You know, it's got some crazy reflection, which I assume is from the strobe. Maybe it's from a window, but.
The one thing I will say about this is if this goes in your portfolio, it really needs to be like full screen, you know? If you had a collage and this was shrunk small, you would lose like all desire to click on that image and look at it more, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like this only really works like full screen.
Community gives it 2.3.
Wow. A lot of black and white. I think when you go old, you have to lose the color. It's like
I guess
part
that's
of the
what's
territory.
going on, huh?
Seems that way. I assume she's a piano teacher because if not, she is still learning the most elementary songs ever. I mean, it's like, here's what a quarter note is. I'm going to rate this as if she is a teacher. She does piano lessons at home.
Okay.
Changes everything.
3, 2, 1.
2?
What did you give it? 3?
3.
All right. So
Her expression's great.
love the composition, love the expression. I think my only critique is the direct flash, harsh light. if you could have gotten that light just a little bit higher, I think it would look really professional. But it just kind of feels like this was taken with a point-and-shoot camera with a on-camera flash. That's what it feels like to me. It's better than that.
Yeah. You can see the weird shadow like on that banister in the background. It's almost like, is that her body? Or the banister is just starting to like...
Maybe so. I mean, you can see, look at the shadow right under her chin. Just that little sharp shadow you can tell is from just a direct, very small flash. But what a great pose and expression, and her hair looks great and everything. You know, so much potential.
Yeah, I don't think this is... If you're trying to reach like a really high level of photography, I don't think that this is going to stay in your portfolio very long. But if you're shooting for your newspaper, you're doing a bunch of editorial work, but people make a lot of money doing that. I think this is a cool image that would be publishable. And this captures, I mean, imagine if you had to go in and shoot a picture in somebody's home, and you're just trying to, you're always trying to find, like, what is the story? And you're like, oh, you teach piano or play piano, like, let's put you here, or, I don't know. I think this was a very clever way of capturing a portrait, but it's not going to stand the test of time.
Community gives it 2.21. You know
this guy? You hate this guy, or what's?
If it weren't for this shirt and this like body pose,
yeah,
I don't think I would have been able to figure out that this was a picture of me. But I recognize this image. That's really funny. Gosh, it looks really good. Like, these apps are wild.
Does it make you a little mad that you, as a senior, still have more hair than you would have in real life?
That is some bullshit. Yes.
I'm trying to remember now, because you should put the link in the description, but you did a whole series where you grew this beard out, and then you cut the beard slowly and did all these crazy composites.
Mm-hmm.
I personally like my white trash version of you.
That was a good one. That was a classic, yes.
But this one, do you remember, like, what was your hair, what did your hair look like originally? Because that's a pretty cool...
Facial hair?
The hair on your head. Because I've seen you bald now for so long that I forget what the original would have looked like.
Those were the good old days. I don't really remember what it was like to have hair anymore.
Well, let's say this is somebody real.
Mm-hmm.
You want to rate this as if it actually belongs or does not belong in your portfolio?
Okay, I can attempt to rate this. I'm trying to see this as just like a real image, some guy.
I have to say, you look fairly attractive as an old man.
It's not bad.
I think Katie would be lucky to have this guy, but I don't know if she's going to wind up with... I mean, we know for certain.
Yeah, I'm not going to have the hair.
Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. So... Like, I was thinking about giving it a 3. I think potentially my biggest critique is like, what's going on with the shadows under the neck? Like, that doesn't seem realistic at all, you know?
That's what you're looking at in this picture?
Well, I think that's what I would say, first of all, if somebody really submitted this image, I would say, why? Like, something doesn't feel real at all.
Do you think that's changed at all, though? Like,
I don't know.
Lit this with the light, like a beauty dish or something above, right? You don't think the shadows under your neck could have gone that dark?
Maybe they did.
The strangest thing is, like, you're given this, like, really engaging smirk and everything. It's like, it's pretty crazy.
I know,
but
I know.
I think the background, it just doesn't make sense. Maybe in the original, it was clearer that you were, like, a golfer or something. But this, it just kind of feels, maybe this feels super golfy still.
Yeah.
This is Jack Nicholson or something, but it's like, is it Nicholson or Nicholas?
Now I'm confused. Jack Nicholas. Jack Nicholson. Phil Mickelson. Jack Nicholas.
You know what I mean.
I don't know.
I'm just like, it doesn't quite make sense. It's like he needs a club or something. Like, there's like one little element that needs to be there that's...
It's kind of creepy, man. It kind of looks like my grandfather. It's really weird. All right, community gives it 3.0. Who knows if that's legitimate or not.
You gotta print this out and like put it in your parents' house or somewhat, like do something with this.
Maybe I should. I can prank them with that.
What did the community? The community gave it a 3.0. They liked it.
It's one of the higher rated images. Now, why is this dude's magazine glowing?
He's reading about the real Jesus.
What's this an ad for on the back? Is that a Nikon ad
it's
on the
like a
back?
Nikon
Yes,
ad.
it is. On the back of National Geographic.
You ready to rate this?
Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
I want to give it a 3, but now that you mention that this doesn't make sense, it's like, why is the magazine glowing?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind you being able to see the magazine a little bit, but my eye immediately goes to the yellow on the magazine, but it's not about that, I wouldn't think. I would think it's about the old man reading the magazine. I love the lighting that you have outside the window. I love his pose with the leg up. I think it all looks good.
The blue outside, like there's a lot of cool tones that are pulling this all together.
Mm-hmm. But it's just the magazine is so bright. I almost want.
And it's weird that the magazine, it doesn't have any real dimensionality to it, but the lighting on the front of that magazine it like registers as like super flat lighting. I don't know if it's the highlight on the binding, but my eye keeps going to the cover of the magazine and just thinking like it looks like direct flash or something right there. And I just want to tone it down. Really, he just needs to be like reading an iPad or something. I don't know.
All right, community gives it 2.63. Looks like Bernie Sanders.
It's like somebody playing.
Or it
Bernie
looks
Sanders.
like Larry David playing Bernie Sanders.
Looks like somebody playing Larry David, who is supposed to be playing Bernie Sanders.
Yep. Maybe it's Bernie Sanders playing Larry David.
Man, we're about to get like the final debate of Bernie Sanders, perhaps ever. He's about to go up against Biden on Sunday, and a lot of people are saying, I think Bernie said it himself, the only reason he's staying in the race is like to have this debate and maybe make Biden look like a fool. I don't think he has a chance of winning, right?
I don't know.
kind of out.
I just thought, maybe it's just because of where I spend all my time online and everything. It just seemed like everybody loved Bernie. And then for all of a sudden Biden to be winning and everybody to be endorsing him, it just feels like something weird's going on. The Democrats.
Well, how weird is it? I mean, no one's talking about this anymore, but the first caucus, was it the Iowa caucus? Buttigieg like won that easily, and that was the one with all the votes that were all mixed up, and I'm like, something seems really strange that a guy who dropped out like almost a week later or something.
I haven't even heard about
won the first caucus.
Okay,
So I don't know what's
even
going on.
remember that.
Crazy American politics, but anyway.
Are you ready?
I don't know how to rate this one either.
3, 2, 1. 3 stars. I mean, this feels like a very modern magazine portrait.
I think the only reason I like this image is because it was shot on pink. I think because it was shot on pink, it gives it this weird, quirky, modern advertising thing. But if I take the pink away, I'm like, he looks bored, but that's kind of funny against the pink. Somehow the pink makes it like a joke.
You're absolutely right.
But if it was any other, maybe you could make this baby blue or something and it would work. But that quirky, seamless paper color is what makes this work well enough to be a 3 and maybe go in your portfolio.
And normally I would complain about all the headspace, but here, making him look small in the frame works for some reason. Again, very quirky and strange feeling.
He looks so tired.
He does. Community gives it 2.57. What does Trump call Bernie Sanders? Does he have a nickname for him?
I don't know if
like
Bernie's...
who's low energy?
That's Sleepy Joe.
No, there's Sleepy Joe, but isn't there somebody who's low energy somebody?
I don't know. I can't keep all the Trump nicknames.
There was Lion Ted.
Lion Ted.
Who was Hillary?
Cheatin'? Was it Cheatin' Hillary or?
No, it wasn't Cheatin' Hillary.
Ah.
I can't keep track of all the nicknames. But I thought, so I was watching some interview and Trump was saying that, Bernie Sanders, like, he could never do this job, or like he could never handle a debate with me, like he just doesn't have the energy. And they were like, aren't you the same age as Bernie Sanders? And he was like, well, yeah, but just look at him. Just look at him. Like he can't handle this.
It's kind of scary when you think about whoever is going to be the president of the United States, how old all of them are. You're like, man, Trump, Biden, Bernie Sanders, they're all like old people. Is that really who we want?
Trump says crazy stuff every time he gets on the mic. Biden, I was just sharing with with people the video of him talking about like the kids rubbing his leg hair, and because of that he learned all about roaches.
And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
What are you even saying?
Dude, we are in trouble. This is another reason to short the stock market.
Yeah.
Crooked Hillary.
Crooked Hillary.
Crooked Hillary.
That's
We had a lot of horses in senior portraits. Now we have horses returning for the seniors.
That's true. This guy doesn't look that old. 3, 2, 1. What?
I don't know. I'm torn. I'm like 2.5. I can't decide here. You're going 4?
I think this is my favorite image of the critique so
really?
far.
I can't get past his shirt, like the way it's like it looks sloppy on the bottom.
That's it?
Yeah.
To you?
I mean, I just go straight to his crotch.
You would.
I would, right? I don't know. Maybe I like it and you love it because it's got animals and it's like something different than everything we've seen in this
No,
critique.
it's not. I mean,
Doesn't it feel a little HDR-ish? Like the sky is a little pulled back and...
Yeah, it does. But I don't know. I just feel like the lighting on him looks great. I like the black and white conversion. I love the fact that you can see the sky. I wonder if this is a fake sky, if they added this in or not. But I love that there's detail in the sky. And I like the fact that the guy's looking out over the top of his sunglasses. That's cool. You know, and he's got 2 horses. That's pretty rare, you know. I think it's great.
It's cool. Maybe I'm trying to figure out what portfolio this goes in.
I will not rest until you say this is the greatest image of the critique.
No, I don't believe that. There's something about, like if I go to his...
crotch?
Well, yeah, go to the very bottom of the crotch. There's something in the processing that, it's like that's super bright, but and I'm not trying to pinpoint that area. What I'm just trying to say is there's elements within this picture that feel like the file's been manipulated a lot, and it's like the lighting's, it's nice-ish, but it doesn't feel high enough of quality to be like a standout picture in your portfolio. It just kind of feels like if you had a personal project section, or if you had like an editorial, like again, it's kind of like an environmental portrait for a magazine or something, but it's not like your leading image that you're going to have that represents you and your work, you know? It's cool.
Just like my shot during the competition with Pi.
You going back to that? I thought we all wanted to forget about
I
that competition.
feel like this and my photo are classic portraits.
portraiture.
Yes.
We get it. We get it.
All right, community gives it.
2.48. They're
Wow.
on my side.
I'm really shocked by that.
No, the community hates other people in the community, so.
Can you tell what guitar this is? What number is it?
You know, you and I both own Taylor's, and I love guitars, but I do not know anything about Taylor's naming system.
I used to know all the numbers, and
Really?
I could recognize the
I'm
wood.
gonna say, let me take a guess because you probably have a really good understanding of this.
I don't anymore.
I'm gonna say this is like a 400 or 500. Feels like it's kind of nice and.
I mean, doesn't that look like rosewood? Doesn't that look like the same as your guitar?
Oh, my guitar's the color on the front is the sides. It's like that dark. It's almost like a tobacco burst or something. But I don't know that if I could even. I don't know the levels of their guitars based on rosewood and the woods. Like I can't tell.
Rosewood is like the best. That's what everybody.
Well, the front of
wants.
this isn't a rosewood. The front of this is like spruce or something or maple.
Right.
But the neck and maybe all Taylor's, the fretboard's all ebony or rosewood.
We're boring everyone who's not a guitar fan. So let's rate this. 3, 2, 1.
I'm between a 2 and a 3. There's something, maybe the wide angle, that there's something that feels a little cheesy about it, but it also feels like it's. I want to crop in. I hate this fan in the top left. I want to crop in just a little bit more, just make it a little tighter.
I am not sure that this image is even in focus. I feel like it might be back focused.
It is. It's like the keyboards are the sharpest part of the image. Yeah, you're right. I got to give this a 2 now, right? It definitely needs work.
I think so. And then the lighting position, it feels maybe a little high for his face, and we've got, you know, those heavy bags under the eyes and everything. It's kind of hard to see his eyes. They're very deep eyes, and I don't know. It's just when you have such a bright background, I'm all about shadows on men's faces, but it feels very shadowy, and then we've got all these bright spots and shadow spots in the background. It just feels kind of jumbled to me.
Yeah, it's really bordering on an image that's just almost too wide for me. Like, look at the headstock in his hands, his left hand. It's just starting to, like, really pull down on the bottom.
Community gives it 2.18. All right, we've got 3 more. Maybe I should give my coronavirus prediction.
Okay.
And this is for entertainment purposes only. I don't want to hear any negative comments. Like, I'm probably going to be very wrong. But I think the government must know something that we don't, right? Why would they be going to this level? I mean, how many people have died? It's less than 5,000 people right now. That's nothing in the scheme of the world.
So what I've learned from people complaining on my Facebook post is that the number of infected cases are probably 10 times bigger.
Yes.
And so I would think, well, that means that this isn't very deadly because the deaths are very low. But we've had a lot of doctors in our community say that they're also not testing the people who die from regular respiratory problems.
At least in the United States.
And so perhaps the death rate is also much lower, and so everything could be higher. But
what do you mean the death rate is lower?
the death rate is lower than what it should be. It's like being recorded is only 5,000 deaths.
Right.
But maybe it's like...
So the percentage of death rate is higher, but the number of deaths by coronavirus may be far more than we know, because in many countries, especially the United States, they're not testing them.
Right.
However, with the current numbers, I keep seeing all these charts for the last few weeks. You see these exponential charts like,
Yeah.
right now we've had 1,000 deaths, but next week it could be 1 million. You know, it's like these ridiculous charts. And it doesn't seem to be happening.
They're saying numbers should be doubling every 4 days, but that doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, we're not even close to
But
that.
that's the problem, is we have no idea if any of these rules are true because we can't test to know if the numbers we're getting in are accurate at all.
Well, that's why I'm making this prediction.
What is your prediction?
My prediction is that it's not going to be that bad. And maybe it will be similar to the flu. And of course, we were having a debate earlier today with a bunch of guys like, if in a few months from now we realize like, oh, you know, only 20,000 people have died and 40,000 people died of the flu, but maybe only 20,000 people died because of all the quarantining stuff we've done, so that's proof that we made the right decision.
Right.
I don't know that that's the case. I'm not sure. I'm not really worried about coronavirus because, you know, when you look at Ebola and SARS and all these other things that have happened, we figured it out.
They're way more deadly.
Way more
you
deadly.
Contain them and everything.
What I am worried about, though, and the reason why I got out of the stock market 3 years ago is because I just felt like the next crash was going to be horrific with all the debt and everything. It seems like worse than it was in 2008. And so I've just been kind of waiting for a real crash to happen, and I am fearful that this could begin
Already down like 25%.
Yeah, but that's all speculation. It's like, you know, like
That's
everybody's losing.
That's not blood in the streets yet.
No, everybody's losing business. I mean, photographers are losing business. All their like
campuses, schools.
We're doing Airbnb. Everybody's canceling on us.
Movie theaters are shutting down.
Yeah,
like
so
tourism. Cruises.
People are starting to lose money now. But what happens if there's still quarantines in 3 months from now? Now it's like everyone's lost their job. That would be the worst recession, right, maybe since the Great Depression. So, I'm going to say that I believe coronavirus will be basically forgotten in 3 months from now. Like, we'll of course talk about it, but like for the most part, nobody's going to care. But I am going to bet the stock market will be down 35% total in approximately 3 months from now. What is it down right now? Like 18%, something like that?
It's like in 20, maybe. I don't know. We had the rally today, so I don't know.
You save it.
Oh, you don't want to hear my theory yet.
We gotta rate some more pictures.
This guy's Sherlock Holmesing it, as Peter Hurley would say.
This is super cool. All right, you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. I mean, I think this is now my favorite. Sorry, Horseman. But I think this is awesome. I always have a tendency to light from the side of the nose. So if his nose is pointed to the camera right, I would want to put my light to the camera right. But I love it when people pull it off lighting from the other side. It looks mysterious and cool. And then, you know, he's got the cool flipped up collar and the hat and everything.
It's called broad lighting.
Yeah, lighting from the broad side.
I wish the light was feathered or even in post. His ear or something could be dodged a little bit more. I just feel like my eye keeps going to the ear.
That's true.
And I'm like, oh, just dodge, you know, burn that in a little bit. Or feather the light so that, you know, it naturally doesn't light up the back. Maybe if you did that, you wouldn't get the nice highlight on the jacket.
I think you just need to do it in post. And then you could probably lighten up the close eye just a little bit more in post. I think your lighting's great. But
I love the composition and the way the line and the shoulder and everything go through.
Yeah.
Like, it's really cool. And then, you know, a lot of people have, you know, had these huge beards and they look really grungy and just super old and everything. But I feel like he's styled enough to where I think it's the hat and the jacket too. He's got the collar popped. It's really cool. And it's a nice black and white conversion.
Community gives it 2.98.
Wow. So here we go, have gone to the opposite side. Now we are doing the short side lighting that you would probably, but they still have the softbox pushed really far back. You could wrap it around even more and have it to where, you see what I'm saying? Like, this is short lighting, but it's accentuated, you know?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just saying the lighting source is on the far side of the face, unlike the last portrait. But it's still it's so far out that it's casting all the shadows on the bridge of the nose and everything. Like, the side of his face closest to us is dark. I'm just saying, if you brought the softbox around just a little bit more, kind of like you would do with your classic portraiture, it would just be a lot more flat, but it would still be the short side.
Okay. Well, this does not feel like classic portraiture to me. Are you ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1. 2 stars. We agree. I don't know. It feels kind of like a test shot to me, like a photographer's self-portrait or something. It doesn't really feel like a finished portrait.
Yeah, isn't it strange how that, like, I'm trying to think what you could do to make this feel like the Steve Jobs portrait or something. Is it just the person? Or the glasses? Is that enough context to make you feel like this isn't, like, super high-end portrait or a super powerful person?
I don't know. I feel like the glasses, without the glasses, I think this would be missing a lot.
Yeah. But I'm saying if these glasses were, if you could tell, man, those look like $3,000 glasses, it might make it look even sharper, you know?
Maybe. I don't know what $3,000 glasses look like.
You know them when you see them, though. They just look, yeah, they look super techy, or they look like they're made out of, like, super thin metal, and you're just like, that looks like, I mean, these don't look very expensive.
Okay. I don't think I can pick out expensive glasses.
I think subconsciously you can.
Okay. Community gives this one 2.84.
All right, you ready for my big conspiracy theory and what's about to happen?
Okay.
I think you're right. I think the coronavirus is not going to be that big of a news story in 6 months in terms of, like, deaths, and it's the worst pandemic ever. I think we're going to forget about that, and maybe that's because we're taking efforts right now, right? But we find ourselves in a political season here in the United States, and we're in a very peculiar environment to where everyone right now is saying Trump has done absolutely nothing to prepare us for this. But I believe we're going to come out of this with, we're not going to be affected that bad. Our healthcare system's not going to collapse. Everybody's not going to have neighbors and friends who have died from this. It's not going to be this horrible plague. And I think Trump's going to come out and say, we actually did weather the storm really, really well, and it's because of me, even if it wasn't. He's going to be like, look what we did. We responded accurately. And look what the lying media did. They got you guys all fearful, and they've crashed the stock market. And I don't know if this is all planned, like if the media, obviously coronavirus is not planned, right? But the media in America at least is building it up in this way that's like, this could be the end of Trump, right? There's so much politics in all of this, right? I feel like this actually might secure his reelection in America. I think a lot of his base that vote for him are going to say the media did lie and we never saw all the deaths and I got the virus and I didn't get sick. I actually think a lot of us might already have had the virus. I mean, you have family members that claim that they might have already had the virus when they traveled abroad. And you're seeing Tom Hanks. You're seeing all these people with the virus. I mean, I think, doesn't the Prime Minister of Canada have it? And people aren't getting sick. Like, a lot of people aren't.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that there aren't people that are dying from this. But I think in 3 or 4 months, a lot of Americans, right before we go into our election and our voting season, it's going to be like, that was not as bad as we thought, but look at the outcome. We are in a massive depression. The stock market's crashed. I know a lot of people don't care about the stock market, but I think a lot of companies could go bankrupt. I think a lot of small businesses are going to be hurt. A lot of people are going to be told to go home, and they're going to have to like pull their kids. I mean, schools are closing. I think there's going to be a lot of money lost, and people are going to really feel the pain. And they're going to look back on this and say, we feel like the media made us more fearful than we should have. And I have to be very clear, that media response might have actually saved us from something much worse. So it's a tricky line to walk down, but I think we are also going to be in a massive recession.
But everybody has said, if Trump has stood on the stock market as proof of how good of a leader
he's going to find a way to pivot and be like, it was doing great until the media made this normal flu into this pandemic. And look at the numbers. Less people, and I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I don't want to like make people feel like I'm telling the truth here.
Right, we're
speculating. We could easily see to where like the deaths from the normal flu are way worse than this pandemic, and I think if that happens, he's going to pivot and say like the market is down because of what the media did, and I think people could rally behind him. I don't know, but I
mean that's an interesting take. Most people have said if the stock market started failing before the next election, he would definitely lose. That's all he has to stand on. But that's an interesting
because they pitted the media has pitted this idea of like Trump has not responded the way we should at all, and we are screwed.
Yeah, I don't really like. It seems to me like he's doing a lot aside from the testing. I don't understand why we aren't doing more testing. Although,
and I don't know that either. Like, is he holding money back from getting these tests, or are these tests just really hard to get anywhere? Like, it's like this new virus that's very hard to test. We have a doctor here who's telling us that the tests that they are giving out are still like only 60% accurate.
Yeah, what's the point? And he said they cost approximately $3,000 a test.
Yeah.
So what the heck? I mean, if you just have a little cold and you don't feel that bad, if you had to spend $3,000 of your own money to get a test that was only 60% accurate done, you wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And so the idea that the government would want to pay for every American to have this test done that's only 60%, that seems like a huge waste of money and resources. So I don't know that that's the right answer either. So I'm not sure what people want Trump to do.
Right.
The fact that he has done everything he has seems very extreme to me.
Well, and the other crazy thing is you saw what China did. I don't know that America will allow a president to do what China did. If he said, we're closing all schools and you must stay in your house, Americans aren't going to do that.
Yeah.
So what, do you want him to say to do that and then we break that law anyway? Like, I don't know what the answer is, but my prediction, stock market's going to crash, the economy.
Oh, so you're basically saying everything I'm saying, but you're also throwing in Trump's using this to get reelected.
He's not using it, but he will use it. And I think I'm just going to do a prediction on the election too, since we're here. Why not? And then you guys can remind me.
So in 3 months from now,
stock market will be down 30 or 40%.
Well, that's exactly what I said. So we just agree. That's not exciting. Oh, I was hoping that we could debate and we could come back and watch this clip and go like, ha, look how wrong you are.
You know what clip we could show right now, though, is that Photographing the World series where we were in Italy when Trump was inaugurated.
Yeah.
And I believe Elia Licardi, I don't know what you said, but he was like, he will definitely be impeached. And I guess technically...
He was!
He was impeached.
He was impeached.
But...
You were right, Elia.
I guess Elia's right. I was going to say, like, nothing happened and he's still president for 4 years, but... I think Trump's going to be president for 4 years. Like, I just think it's going to be impossible to impeach him and get him out. And
for the first time ever anywhere, the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
Do you think he's making it all 4 years? Do you think he could go 8?
Anything could happen. He could get impeached by the time the behind the scenes come out. He could make it 4 years. He could make it 8. But if he may either do horrible things or he may do great things. He might solve North Korea. He might fix Israel. He might build the damn wall that he wants. If he does all those things, maybe he'll even communicate with the aliens and they're going to be cool with us. We're suddenly having hyper-transport, and a hyperloop through Mars with Elon Musk. I have no idea anymore.
I don't know.
Wow. This is the longest critique in critique history. I apologize.
Well, it's because they're old people, and we got to give old people more time.
That's true.
All right.
3, 2, 1. I'm going 4 stars, man. Like, I think this looks super cool. This also feels like a Peter Hurley shot to me.
I see this image, and I like so much about it, and I just think if Peter was sitting here, he would be like, you got to get the jaw out. Like, he didn't give this guy a jaw, and that's like the number one thing.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
Do you mind the highlight in the glasses?
I don't think I do. It's just faint enough. It's not going over the top of the eye. I think it looks nice.
Yeah, it does make it like feel like it's real glass, you know.
Yeah.
But he's given a great expression. Does the knot in the tie look a little tight?
It could be a little, unless he's got a giant head. The knot in the tie could be loosened a little bit or something. That is strangely small.
Oh, this is only number 19, so we got one more.
We have one more. This was rated 2.65, and the final rating, what in the hell is this?
This is a senior portrait.
It's something.
It's like a senior reliving her senior portrait.
Oh!
What?
I thought this was a guy dressed up in a...
I mean, now you have me questioning. I assume this is a woman.
Okay.
But we've been down this road before in our critiques.
And we've been shamed for gender assigning people, so let's just leave it at that. This is a human, maybe, and it is beautiful. 3, 2, 1. Really, 2.
There's something about I don't know if it's just lit from the wrong side, but I feel like I want more light on her mouth. It's like the way that it is now, if I squint, it's almost like creepy. It's almost like this is going to be for like the next It movie or something.
Yeah.
And if the light was on the other side or she switched hands, I feel like the light would hit the lips enough to where this would become some kind of quirky portrait. But just the little bit of shadow on her mouth just makes this a little like strange to me. Maybe you don't feel the same way, but...
So I go back and forth between feeling like, wow, what a genuine expression on this person's face, to this is scary as hell, and this is like a freaking horror movie, like you said, It or something, you know, some dream sequence in some Freddy movie.
Do you think calling this person the Nightmare from Elm Street is worse or better
than getting the gender wrong?
Getting the gender wrong? You're like, we're not going to go down that road. This is like a nightmare.
Hopefully only our true fans have lasted this long, and they won't ream us too bad for it.
I'd like to hear other people's predictions below about what they think is going to happen with the virus, how deadly it's going to be. I know that's like a weird thing to predict. But then also like, maybe not just the U.S., like we've talked about it from a U.S. perspective, but like a world economy, you know, like what's going to happen. Because there's a lot of people speculating that like Italy is in financial trouble and the EU could be in financial trouble. We don't know what's going on with China. There's rumors that like China is just turning on their lights and burning electricity to make us think that they're back to work, and like we don't really know. And so I would like to know what other people from around the world think, you know?
I have an idea. I am going to write a post on Fstoppers where I will invite all of you to write in the comments, no, not predictions, but your experience so far on the date when I post this of the economic
impact
effect of this situation
in their like town,
yeah,
or like
well,
for their business,
for them personally, because I mean, so much of our lives have changed. I mean, we were supposed to go to Japan, then we were supposed to go to Greece, like both of those are off the table now.
Maybe even Georgia, the country of Georgia. Like there's all these plans to do things, and all that's...
Katie and I were going to go to Disney. That's shut down. We were thinking about going to LA. That's shut down. We were thinking about going to New York for the Khabib and Tony UFC fight. That's shut down. I have an Airbnb property. Everyone's canceling. I have friends who are wedding photographers. They're saying everyone's canceling. One of my Airbnb clients today who canceled said that the wedding that they were going to canceled.
Yeah. Some of it is just, you know, the cities are saying you can't have gatherings more of X number of people. And so
we have a friend here who owns a cap and gown company. He's saying he has record low sales this year because graduations are being canceled months in advance.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's the biggest threat we have is that we keep talking about the stock market, but I don't think
it's not just the stock market.
Most people don't understand the economic impacts that this is going to make, and that isn't in the news headlines yet. And so that's the scariest part of all this, you know. And my hope is that America is the last phase of this. And when it gets, you know, when we get 4 or 5 weeks into this, we'll know where we stand as a world. But the truth is, like, it can then come back around again the next season. It can come in, like, the fall.
And if it does, like the flu, I mean, we don't even consider the flu.
Yeah.
The flu kills 40, 50,000 people. No one cares. It's just a normal...
You had the flu over Christmas.
Exactly.
And I was just like, stay in that room.
Exactly. Nobody was panicking. Nobody was buying toilet paper.
Right.
And
you never once thought the safety of your life, right? Did you even go to the doctor?
No.
You just waited it out.
Yeah. And if this COVID-19 becomes the next flu and you get it every couple years or whatever, I think even if it's 5 times more deadly than the flu, I think it could very quickly become a non-issue and we're just used to it.
Especially once we find the vaccination and we have medicines that can treat it. But
exactly. At least that's my hope. I mean, obviously, we could, what's the subreddit? Aged like milk. And these comments aged like milk, and we come back and we're like, oh my gosh, it was truly the world's worst pandemic, and look how naive we were.
They're not even here anymore.
They're dead. Yeah, maybe
that
would be bad. All right, I think we should end on that positive note. See you next time, guys.
If you have images of what? Travel.
Travel.
Hopefully not travel right now, because that'd be irresponsible. But
yeah.
Any cool pictures you've had of travel in the last couple years, post them in the link, fstoppers.com/contest.